Okay, hello. I'm Oliver Caldwell, and I'm going to give you a little tour of kind of how to begin setting up Aniseed and Conjure and all of the tools that I've been working on that you've probably seen mentioned on my Twitter and my YouTube and everything. But I've never really done one from scratch and shown people how to begin. And this is all off the cuff, so it might be a bit rambly, and I hope not too long. But should give you a good kind of from zero to working for people that are really just trying to get a feel for what Conjure is. So first of all, and what Aniseed is, I guess. First of all, I can show I have a blank Neovim, no configuration in it. So very, very fresh. I moved all my config away. Let's just try running the school to make sure that we can do this. So this is kind of the interactive tutorial that Conjure can drop you into. And you can see we're in here now. I can evaluate things, and it starts to complete lessons. You can go and do this yourself if you want to. Yeah, I don't need to go through all of this, but cool, we can run the school. That's with no Neovim configuration whatsoever, so you can come and learn the mappings that way. What we want to do first is get a plugin manager for our Neovim. And there's a bunch out there. I'm going to use Vimplug because it's what I'm used to, and it is incredibly popular. There's these other Lua-based ones that I'll check out at some point. So Packer and Pack, they seem really cool. They're Neovim specific. They seem quite futuristic, I guess. And anything written in Lua gives me more confidence than Vimscript personally. And yeah, they seem neat, but I just haven't got around to trying them yet. So we'll stick with what I know works and is easy to use for potentially new users. So I'm going to install Vimplug. Vimplug is just a declarative plugin manager. So we need the Neovim line. It allows us to describe what plugins we want, and then run a command, and it will synchronize and pull the things it needs to pull and clean up the things we don't need anymore. And I just really like the model of Vimplug. It's worked really well for me for years. So I can highly recommend it as a kind of used in anger plugin manager. So let's run this, and this is going to go and fetch Vimplug source code, that plug.vim, and it's going to install it into my Neovim directory, I hope. Yeah, that looks like it is. Cool, let's run that. Nice, and now I should be able to, now that I've got that file installed, I should be able to go into my vimrc and add a little bit of config. So, yep, so standard path config. For Neovim we use standard path data/plugged. Okay. So, let's go into my /.config mvim. I don't have a directory yet, so I'm going to have to make dir /.config mvim. And then we're going to go into config mvim init.vim. We don't have anything in here yet. Let's paste this little example and grab this bit as well. I'm going to copy and paste all over the place, and I'll make sure I put this on GitHub after, so you can come and find it. You can see I keep typing JK because that is normally my escape mapping. So in my muscle memory, I hit JK to get out. I don't have that in this config because I don't have any config yet. So we've got our plug begin, and this is going to say where I want to install my plugins to. And let's add a plugin, and we're going to start with Aniseed. So all I need to do is grab these two things and put them down here. And we're going to use my my fennel syntax, slightly tweaked, slightly more up to date. Not very different. You can use the backpacking or my one. I'm beginning to push my one forward at the moment just because it includes some Aniseed specific modifications. And that should be all we need there. Then the only other part we need for Vim plug is this plug end, and that kind of finalizes everything. So now if I can probably source this and then do plug install. Yep, that went and installed those plugins. Excellent. Let's close this window. The other thing I want to do is let G Aniseed env equals true, or vtrue. You can't just write true in Vim script. It needs to be vtrue or vfalse, or vnull as well. So we set Aniseed env to true. Now all that does is say, well, we're just setting a variable, right? It doesn't really do anything. But when Aniseed launches, it is going to look for this, and if it's set, it's going to assume that we want to do our configuration with fennel. And Aniseed is going to handle all of that configuration and compile it for us. While we're here, let's grab one more plugin. Let's grab Conjure, because we're going to want that for our interactive evaluation. Because we're going to be working on our configuration in fennel. Okay, so now we have these. Sort them. Cool, they're already in order. So we have all 3 plugins that we could possibly ever need. Let's do another source source this file, and plug install. You could also reboot Neovim to get this configuration to reload, but I'm just sourcing it. And that's cloning Conjure. Why did it fail to do that? That's fine. It's complaining that I didn't. It's because Aniseed tried to load up, and Aniseed is trying to find a file that doesn't exist. I should probably make it handle that. So what are we going to do now with that? We're going to go into our Neovim configuration directory, and we're going to create, I think, an init fennel. Yep. So make fennel, and we're going to do nvim fennel init.fennel, and we'll do print hello world. And now we're cooking. So I'll fix that actually probably today. I'll make sure Aniseed doesn't throw errors when you say I want Aniseed to load my environment and then it explodes if you haven't created the file yet, which is not a nice experience. So I'll get that fixed. But now this code is running. So if we look inside our tilde slash, where are we? We're in config nvim. That's all that's in here so far. So we have our fennel directory with our fennel source code in it. So fennel init fennel, that's a little hello world, and we have init.vim, and this is just the plugins that we want. So quite simple so far. And now we have fennel-based config. So when we want to install plugins, we can go and change this kind of bootstrap file. We can change our init.vim. We can add more plugins in here, which is easy enough. And then when we want to, let's say I'm going to add Vim Vinegar, for example. Really good plugin. Let's just go and add this one as well. So I grab that, go into edit here, plug Vim Vinegar, and give it a sort and a write, and then I'll relaunch and do plug install. There we go, done. You can also do plug update and plug prune, or what do we got? Diff, clean. So there's a bunch of different things here. It's a really clever plugin. It's really good for keeping your plugins in sync across multiple machines. So I sync my actual config, my my dot files through Git, and I symlink them all together with stow, GNU stow, into my home directories. And as I pull my new changes and synchronize with Vim plug, it will remove old plugins that I no longer need. It will install newer ones. It will update what I currently have. So it's really handy for that. And now with this init fennel, let's do some Conjure with this as well, right? Because we have Conjure installed. I don't have a local leader, so normally I would do comma EE to evaluate stuff. I don't have that yet because I don't have Conjure. So let's define a module. Let's call it .files. And we're going to require, what are we going to require? We're going to require Neovim from Aniseed.Neovim. And then we're going to do Neovim, set Neovim.g. Map local leader. I think that's it. I'm going to set it to comma. Okay, now let's give it a little reboot. Oh, it doesn't like that. I'm missing a... that's why. Missing curly brace. I don't have a brace matching thing. There we go. And now I could do comma ER and evaluate that whole block. And I can set this again. I could check what's in this variable. So Neovim map local leader now contains comma. I can evaluate hello world whenever I want. Great. This color of the HUD is awful, right? So this is the log we've got here, the Conjure log. And that has all my evaluations in it. And we can see what this says here. But when I run it here, see it's all pink? That's not very easy to see, right? This is a common problem people have, and it depends on your color scheme. And there is an FAQ down here that has a few things. So it looks pretty gross by default. So I suggest setting the P menu group normal float is more specific. Okay. So let's try doing this. So what do we want to do? So when I want to do Vim based configuration from Fennel, I generally I'll paste the example code I want in here, and then I'll work out how to translate it. So I want to do a Neovim. What is it? It's Neovim X highlight normal float. Let's put all this in quotes actually. Normal float. C term BG equals. So the background, let's do black, and GUI BG equals black. Maybe? Aha! Look at that. It's a bit better. How about grey? Oops, grey. And it's a bit too light, dark grey. You see how I'm just experimenting with this, right? There we go. That's nice. Let's go with that. So I'm not actually reloading the file. I'm evaluating this form here. I'm running it over and over again with the EE. And that is showing me how it will look. And I don't like how... So another thing we could change. I don't like how when I open a new log window, it appears on the left. So what we can change... Let's copy this from my actual .file config, right? Let's grab this one. No, not this one. Where do I set this? Or maybe I don't. I thought there was a thing that I set for this. Apparently not. Let's do this one. Oh, and this one. Let's do these two. Yeah. So let's paste these in. And evaluate, and evaluate. Oh, that's not very nice. Maybe grey is what we want. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, close enough. And evaluate this, and evaluate this, and now I can use my mouse. And I can use my mouse to highlight stuff, which is nice. Ah, this term Gui Colors, when I turn that on, the color changed. So how... Oh, can I do... Like... Oh, maybe 6s? Does it take these? No, it doesn't like those. And you see we actually get an error. Which is quite nice. Like, we actually get an error out of trying to run this stuff. So let's put that back. So, yeah, I don't know what the answer is here. I'm just, like, experimenting, just to show you how experimenting can work. Yeah, Yep, that's good. What else can we do? So we have some configuration here. Maybe we want some mappings in another file. So what we could do is let's call this one .files.init, and let's call this one mapping.fennel, and let's do module .files.mapping. And I'm not going to do any mapping, but we'll do print. I would do some mappings. And let's make a function, and let's call it set mappings. Or setup. Yeah, let's go with setup. And indent this, and close that off. And evaluate this file. And then I can go into here, and I can say mapping is .files.mapping. I'll write my file and I'll evaluate that, and we can see in the HUD now, I mean we don't have to understand that output, that's all Aniseed specific, but I've reloaded this module, and now mapping dot setup. There it is, and I can run that, and it said I would do some mapping. So we could call this from here. So this is how we can kind of begin to break up our configuration into separate modules and call into them. And you'll notice what I just did there. If I do Control XO, we have completion. So this is like full on RUV dot. Is that going to work? Maybe it's not. OS dot. Yeah, there you go. That's all that OS things. So we are actually getting completion within stuff within our Vim configuration, which is quite handy. Now, how about we enable auto-completion as we type? So Conjure has support for any completion plugin you can think of. Like I don't have a completion plugin installed right now, but I can still do nvim dot Control XO and get the completion results, so I can see what's inside the nvim table. But if we want it to be automatic, we can install something like Doplete, which is a provider for asynchronous auto-completion. There's a bunch out there, and one that I really want to look into is nvim compy. I don't know if somebody's made support for this for Conjure yet. Maybe they have, and this is one that I'm probably going to swap to at some point. But again, in the interests of using something I know works, let's use the one that I know works. So let's do this, and let's reload Neovim. Oh, it's not happy. Oh, I know why. Because where I called this mapping, you actually want to call this fennel.files, and then you want to move fennel.files mapping to fennel.files mapping. Yeah, that should do it. Yeah, I would do some mappings. There we go. And let's do a plug install. Cool. That's installed. We got Vim Vinegar, and Vim Vinegar allows me to do this. It allows me to go up and down through directories. So if I open up Neovim and I hit minus, I kind of go into a file browser, and I can go into a file, and I can hit minus, and then minus again. So it's a way to traverse out of a file into its parent directory, which is pretty useful. So let's see if our completion is working. It might not be. It doesn't appear to be right now. Doplete. You could do... There's another step to get Doplete to work, which is update remote plugins and Doplete enable at startup. That's the one. So let's go set those. I'll put it in here because I don't know if Doplete will be... It checks this may be too late if I put it inside my Fennel code. And let's do a update remote plugins as well. So I'll put this on the end here. Update remote plugins basically updates the remote plugins. It will go and find like Python based or whatever language it's written in, and it will find them as remote processes and set up a registry for them, like pre-search. So now when I open Neovim, hopefully, yeah, that little delay suggests to me that Deoplete launched. This is a reason to move to Vim Compy, is that you won't have to run an external Python process, which is definitely worth it. Aha! And now we have completions. Excellent. Yeah, great. And vim.x. Yeah, there's only one in there. What else have we got? We got. Is anything from here coming up now? No, there's nothing in there. Vim. Yeah, there you go. Look at all those functions. Handy. What else is there? Don't know how long I've been waffling for so far. What else could we show? Let's grab Vim Fugitive and commit this. I was going to show like creating a plugin with Aniseed as well, not just doing your configuration, but I don't think that's too useful. I think, well, by not too useful, I mean I've already done videos about that, so you can find other videos, plug install, about creating plugins with Neovim. There's a talk I did for VimConf about this. So if you go find my VimConf talk from VimConf 2020, I demoed kind of building a plugin from scratch, and I built a slideshow plugin called KK Slider, reference to Animal Crossing, like live during the talk, and then presented my slides with that thing I built during the talk. So I recommend going and watching that one. I quite enjoyed that talk. I thought that was quite good. So what have we got now? We got Vim Vinegar. So let's create, let's get in it. The other thing you want to do here is ignore the Lua directory. You don't want to commit your Lua directory. You want to commit your fennel, and let's not commit this one either. Net rw hist. Let's ignore that one. Net rw hist. Yeah, let's ignore those. Cool. And then let's go into here and let's do, how do I get Fugitive to open? G status. Yeah, let's go add. So staged files, commit, cc, and let's do initial commit with fennel or aniseed config. Also, hi YouTube. Yeah, let's go with that. Looks good. Don't look at my password. And let's close that and close that. And I'll push this up to GitHub. I'll do that after. But yeah, hope this has been interesting. Go out there and experiment. Just grab some plugins, throw them together, see what you get, and ask me in the comments and on Twitter and by any other means with any questions you have or any tips you need, or share any tips as well. Like if you've used MVim Compy and it works fine with Conjure, like please do let me know. I'm interested in swapping to it. So if somebody else has beat me to it, great. And I may be able to introduce some configuration into Conjure directly that makes it easier to use that sort of completion plugin. And the other one will be swapping to a different plugin manager. So maybe I won't be using VimPlug for much longer. Maybe after years of using it, I will swap over to Packer or Pack. One of these two. Both seem pretty cool, but I just haven't got around to it yet. Yeah, I think that's all from me. I hope you all have a good rest of your week and weekend, and enjoy the latest Conjure release. Go eat some Easter eggs if that's your jam. Cool. Speak to you all soon. Bye bye.